Let's prove if these numbers are even or odd, starting with 2. How many tiles do you see? Right, 2. And is 2 even or odd? I bet you said even. I'll circle it. How do you know that 2 is an even number? I bet you said that 2 is even because it can be divided into 2 equal groups. 2 groups of 1. Or it can be put into pairs, and there are none left over. How many tiles do you see now? Right, 3. Is 3 even or odd? I bet you said odd. How do you know? I bet you said 3 is odd because it cannot be divided into 2 equal groups. There's 1 left over, so we won't circle it. How many tiles do you see now? Right, 4. And is 4 even or odd? I bet you said even. How do you know? I bet you said 4 is even because it can be split into pairs of 2 or 2 equal groups. So we'll circle 4. How many counters do you see now? Right, 5. Even or odd? I bet you said that 5 is odd. How do you know? Right, 5 cannot be put into 2 equal groups, and in pairs, there's 1 left over. How many tiles do you see now? I bet you said 6. Is 6 even or odd? I bet you said even. How do you know? Right, 6 is even because it can be split into 2 equal groups, or we can put it into pairs and there are none left over. How many tiles now? Right, 7. And is 7 even or odd? I bet you said odd. How do you know that 7 is an odd number? I bet you said that 7 is odd because when we put it into pairs, there's 1 left over, and we cannot make 2 equal groups. How many tiles do you see now? I bet you said 8. And is 8 even or odd? I bet you said even. How do you know that 8 is an even number? I bet you said that 8 is even because it can be split into pairs of 2, or we can make 2 equal groups with none left over. How many tiles do you see now? Right, 9. And is 9 even or odd? I bet you said odd. How do you know that 9 is an odd number? I bet you said you know that 9 is an odd number because when we make groups, they are not equal. And if we try to make pairs, there's 1 left over. How many tiles do you see now? Right, 10. And is 10 even or odd? I bet you said even. How do you know that 10 is an even number? I bet you said you know that 10 is even because we can make 2 equal groups, or we can put 10 into pairs and there are none left over. Nice job. How many tiles do you see now? I bet you said 11. Is 11 even or odd? Right, odd. How do you know that 11 is an odd number? I bet you said you know 11 is an odd number because it cannot be put into 2 equal groups, and when we make pairs, there's 1 that does not have a partner. How many do you see now? Right, 12. Even or odd? I bet you said even. You're right. Each one has a pair. Do you think 13 will be even or odd? I bet you said odd. Why do you think 13 will be an odd number? I bet you said 13 will be an odd number because when we add one more tile, we will not be able to make equal groups, and in our pairs, there will be one without a partner, or one left over. Do you think 14 will be even or odd? I bet you said even. Why is 14 an even number? I bet you said 14 is even because when we make pairs, there are none left over. Look at the numbers that we've circled so far. Do you see a pattern starting to form? Say your answer out loud. I bet you said yes, that every other number is even. We have odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. So using that pattern, do you think 15 will be even or odd? I bet you said odd, and you're right. What about 16? I bet you said even. You're right. Why is 16 even? Say your answer out loud. I bet you said 16 is an even number because when we put 16 into pairs, there are none left over. Every tile has a partner. Let's see if we can go through this a little faster. Is 17 even or odd? I bet you said odd. What about 18? I bet you said even. 19? I bet you said odd. And 20? I bet you said even. Nice work. Now look at all the numbers that we circled. How do you know that these numbers are even? Say your answer out loud. I bet you said you know that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20 are even because they can all be split into 2 equal groups with none left over. What else do you notice about the numbers that we circled? I bet you said that all the numbers that we circled are even. And there's a pattern, and it starts at 2. It goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. So now we know that even numbers have 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 in the ones place. What about the numbers that we didn't circle? I bet you said those are odd numbers. What do you notice about those numbers? Say your answer out loud. I bet you said you noticed that they have 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9 in the ones place. So you can use that pattern to help you figure out if a number is odd or even today.